Hello everybody, and as always, welcome to my channel. My name is Brian Hussar. This is where I talk about my passions of the Beatles, music, movies, and musical theater. If you like what you see, please click that subscribe button. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. I decided I'm going to do a two-part video, a fun one. A review of the post-Beatle breakup compilations. The first one I'm going to do focuses on ones that were released when all four Beatles were alive. That includes real music, because I'm sure John was alive when that was okayed, even though it came out in '82. There's much to bitch about when it comes to the post-breakup compilations, but I think they're a lot of fun. The Red and Blue albums, which were the first anthologies that all four Beatles signed off on, and John, in one interview, claimed more credit for deciding on what to put for the artwork and insisting that George Martin check the mixes out. I wish I had the interview. It's like in 74, 75 time frame, that interview. But the first two compilations were these, the famous Red 1962 to 1966, and what we nicknamed the blue one, 1967 to 1973. 1970, excuse me. Came out in 73. Now, of course, a lot of people had bitched about these. I mean, this is essentially the same artwork on each of them. Here's the gatefold sleeve from the Mad Day Out photo session in 1968. They did something special with the apples on the label. Green apple backed with red background. And a green apple with a blue background on 67 to 70. Now, I know a lot of people were upset at the time about the lack of liner notes and no historical notes and things like that. And it is kind of flimsy, the artwork. It really is. The 2010 CD reissues of those, they do have liner notes this time and additional photos. And those are good to have on CD. They have the 2009 remasters, and they've just recently reissued those on vinyl. I think they went back to the analog masters for those on the reissues. But if you're a casual Beatle fan, those are must-haves. More than the Beatles one collection. That's just number ones. This kind of lets the casual fan know what the heck was going on. Should they have released them as two separate albums and maybe in a big 4-record set box? Maybe. And that was followed in 1976 by Rock and Roll Music, the controversial Rock and Roll Music. I showed this one before. I showed a couple of these before, but I didn't talk about them in depth. This was controversial at the time, especially because of the cover art. I guess I'm supposed to hold the record like this, the cover like this, because of the thumbs. That's supposed to be me holding, me or you holding the record. John supposedly had made some comments about the cover and said Capitol should use photos that Astrid Kirchherr or Jürgen Vollmann shot of them in Hamburg, Germany. Kind of like what he did for his rock and roll album. I guess rock and roll is synonymous with the 50s. I mean, cheeseburgers, a Coca-Cola, drive-in movies. It was a special release because it got a nice specialty custom label. Apple was no more at this time. Their label, Apple Records, was no more. No liner notes, no historical photos, no nothing. But I think the reason why is because Capitol and EMI were issuing these things as new product with previously released songs. New product with previously released songs. Let's face it, again, this is 1976. The Beatles still, 1970 is when they made the announcement that they were no more. So we're not talking about the Beatles in historical terms at this point. We're still talking about them in terms of being contemporary still. All four Beatles are issuing solo albums. I think John finally backed away at this point because this was 76 and Rock and Roll came out in 75. Paul is out on the Wings Over America tour. George is releasing 33 1/3. I think Ringo had just released or was about to release Rotogravure. So they're all still out there in the public eye. The Rock and Roll album, as a compilation, it kicks major ass. Forgive my language. It's sequenced perfectly. This is a really good compilation, despite the artwork. That was followed by the Beatles at the Hollywood Bowl. And I've showed this. I've talked about this. This is the original release, not the reissue that came out in 2016. A nice custom label. I love custom labels. If anybody out there can tell me what the first album was that had a custom label, please let me know. It's something that I've been trying to research. What was the first album to have a label other than the standard company label? Now we're getting into... Let's try and come up with ideas so we have a Beatles album. The sequel to Rock and Roll Music, the Beatles Love Songs. Again, no additional photos, but you do get a nice leather embossed sleeve and a doctored version of the Richard Avedon photo collage. These were 4 separate photos that he collaged together. Ringo was originally over here. Paul was, I think, over here. They flip-flopped him here because Paul was now the more dominant one. This came with a nice booklet. Beautiful custom label design. It's a good compilation as well. Poorly sequenced. Yesterday's a great tune, but I would have began with In My Life, which is on here. I would have closed the album with Long and Winding Road, which is also on here. P.S. I Love You is kind of a weak album closer. It's kind of like they put the songs in any order with no thought to it. But the songs that they chose for love songs is pretty good. I would have resequenced the whole thing. That was followed by Rarities. I don't have Rarities. The UK got a different one, and America got a different one, I think in 80 is when it came out. I used to have it on vinyl. I don't anymore. There was some controversy that Capitol went and re-edited some of the songs themselves. Some of it I question, like, why was The Inner Light considered a rare tune? It was the B-side to Lady Madonna. So if you had... Other than the fact that The Inner Light was not on an album. But I do need to get my hands on a copy of Rarities again, just so I could have it. Just because, like I said, I think these compilations are fun. But in 1982, this could have been a great compilation. And it's still kind of fun. Real Music. This is a promo copy that I got, a limited edition promo copy that I got at the Fest for Beatle Fans in Los Angeles in 2014. On gold vinyl. It's a good idea to do a compilation of all the hit songs from Beatles movies. Inner sleeve. The Beatles collection. The Beatles movie souvenir program. Why I originally wanted this compilation when I first saw it a long time ago. I almost bought it at the Fest for Beatle Fans when it was called Beatle Fest in summer of 1988. I'm a film fanatic, as you guys know. I talk about film. And this has small reproductions of the movie posters. The liner notes were done by some guy. He talks about each film. People have complained about the artwork on here. I mean, you can see that John almost looks like Ringo. I guess that's supposed to be John. It's kind of a flimsy compilation. There's only 2 songs from Magical Mystery Tour, I Am the Walrus and Magical Mystery Tour. You could have easily made this a double album and included Full on the Hill. I would have definitely included Full on the Hill. For Yellow Submarine, that's represented by Yellow Submarine and All You Need Is Love. Yellow Submarine and All You Need Is Love were not originally written for the Yellow Submarine film. I would have replaced that with probably either Hey Bulldog or All Together Now, and definitely It's All Too Much. Those songs were recorded and given to the producer and director of Yellow Submarine specifically for the movie. There are a lot of songs from A Hard Day's Night, title track, I Should Have Known Better, Can't Buy Me Love, and I Love Her. So 4 songs from A Hard Day's Night, 3 songs from Help, 2 songs for Magical Mystery Tour, 2 songs representing Yellow Submarine, and 3 songs for Let It Be. Kind of a flimsy compilation in that regard. Still a lot of fun in my opinion. Definitely still a lot of fun. And then we didn't get anything. I don't count 20 greatest hits, but we didn't get anything as far as new compilations, new Beatle product until 1994 with Live at the BBC. And I will talk about those on the next one. But overall, these compilations, they are a lot of fun, and I think they were thinking of the casual fan, not the diehard fan, when they put these together. Hey, a new Beatles album. I like the Beatles. Let's go out and get a new Beatles album. Whereas the diehard fans were really down on these. But somebody like me, I think they're a lot of fun. The weakest of these, I think, is Real Music. The strongest, obviously, are Red and Blue. Rock and Roll Music I recommend because it's a great compilation of hard rockin' tunes. Love songs, great collection, but put together and sequenced in a really haphazard way. Those are my thoughts on those. And that wraps this one up. Thank you very much. Please leave me a comment below. Any thoughts you have on this, any opinions that you have, please let me know. Please feel free. And again, I make my videos when I can, when my children allow me. And I'll see you all in the next one.